like your gamer headphones.
That's what I said. I asked him what his gamer tag was.
Those are awesome.
Oh, sorry guys. I'm just trying to class it up a little bit. Would you like me to use my other headphones?
No, those are fine.
Okay, great.
Did he ever answer where he's staying?
Yeah, he said he's staying in a condo.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear that.
Yeah, he's saying he's staying in a condo.
Condominium.
So what is Katie doing during this time? I haven't even had a drink yet. Dang, this is gonna be a long episode.
Candy bars. Have y'all seen that movie? Please tell me you know what movie I just referenced.
What movie is it?
Y'all have never Super Troopers.
Oh, I've seen that, but it was like right when it came out.
No, I haven't seen it forever. I mean, I've never seen it.
The snozberries taste
Man, snozberry. Who's ever heard of a snozberry? That's right.
There's a part at the very beginning of Super Troopers. Actually, it is the very beginning of Super Troopers. It's 3 teenagers in their early 20s, young men, in a car smoking weed, and the Super Troopers drive. The troopers drive by or up behind them and flash the lights, and so they ditch the joint. And the guy in the back seat, he was like, "You got to eat the pot," and so he eats the pot, and then he turns on, he's got a whole bag of shrooms, and he's like, "Here, eat the shrooms too." So the guy eats the shrooms, and he's just stoned out of his head. And that's when they actually get pulled over, and the cops come up to the window. He's in the back seat, and he just blurts out, "Candy bars."
Oh,
Sweet. So when do you all come back home?
Thursday.
Okay. Nice.
nothing says being in the mountains like drinking McDonald's.
Dude, this place has everything.
That's what I'm talking about.
We hadn't done anything chain, like no Wendy's, no McDonald's, nothing like that. We've been eating local the whole time. And as we were coming back from
Bet you have.
What?
Nothing. When you said eating local, nothing. Sorry.
No, do
Continue.
explain what that meant, please, kind sir.
Y'all finally went to McDonald's?
Why, Joel, what exactly do you mean?
This is the happiest I've seen Fisher in like forever.
We should have saved the making whoopies episode for this one.
I know.
Oh,
no, dude, I'm excited about today's. This is gonna be fun.
No, if we would have done it now, I mean, no, we couldn't have handled it because he would have had to pause in the middle of his list.
I feel that today's episode is going to be right in both of y'all's wheelhouses.
Ooh,
right on.
It'll be cool. Okay, man, I'm excited. Are we ready for this?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, and Jam In on the one. That's going to be a t-shirt. Jam In on the one. That's right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the UNT3 podcast, where we bring you all music all the time. We're coming at you today from 3 different locations. I'm at home here, still in Princeton, Texas. Joel's in his house, wherever it is that he lives, somewhere over in West Texas somewhere. And then, man, Fisher is coming at us from Colorado. Yes, Colorado, because somebody took the plunge and got married, and they got to go on some kind of honeymoon. You know what I'm saying? So far, so good. The pictures have been awesome. I wish I was there. Have y'all heard any live music while you've been there or no?
We haven't been able to like sit down and listen, but a couple of places that we've gone to eat have had live music, and so
okay.
There was a place in New Mexico that we stopped. It was really cool, and then here in Granby, at the brewery. Yeah, all these little towns that we've stopped in, pardon me, uh, in the evening time have some kind of live music going on. It's actually really cool.
Sweet.
So
If y'all have never been to Granby, Colorado, your travel guide is right there. He'll let you
Right
know all
there.
about it.
Right
I
there.
highly recommend it.
Oh, highly recommend it.
Stop it.
But ladies and gentlemen, he will be here all week.
I will.
Okay?
Try
And
to
I'm still
finish.
and I'm still single.
That's right. And be sure to tip your waitress, you know.
Like I-
So
Yeah, like as I saw, single as a Pringle. That's what Ireland said the other day.
so I tell you what, today I like the topic I'm bringing to y'all today. If you're listening on Spotify or you're listening on the Apple podcast, you may want to jump over to YouTube at some point, because our editing team that we have here for this podcast, there's going to be some amazing pictures to go along with what we talk about. So if you want to actually see what it is we're talking about, because pictures are going to go a long way with this.
Oh, geez.
It'll be great. So let's jump right in. So when we talk music, we've had discussions about, you know, greatest singers, greatest this, greatest that, you know, best drummers, our super groups, or we've pitted people against each other. I think we've mentioned a couple times what goes along with these people, and that's their instrument. But sometimes the
Ooh.
instrument really kind of gets, you know, lost in conversation. So what I'm bringing at y'all today, and what we're going to do is I'm going to go down this list. And as I read the list, you can comment on the artist, the album, songs. But the list is, here we go, the top 21 most iconic guitars of all time.
Yeah. This is
Okay.
great. This is great.
So again, I told you it'd be in y'all's wheelhouse, right?
Yeah.
Now, this list was written in 2013. Okay, so it's an older list, but are there really any iconic guitars that have come out after 2013? I don't believe so. So I'm okay with this list. It is not a Rolling Stone list. It
Thank
is.
God.
Yeah, I know. Well, believe me, there was a Rolling Stone list. I looked at it and I was like, no, I'm going to go with this one instead.
Okay.
So I haven't heard of this website before, anti-quiet or antiquiet.com. I don't know, some random website with a good list. But here we go. We're going to jump right in. And don't forget,
All right.
when I say the artist and the guitar, feel free to jump in and talk about why that guitar is iconic, what albums it was on, etc.
Okay.
All right. And these are in no particular order, according to the person that made this list, no particular order. So
Okay.
right at number 21,
Okay.
Kurt Cobain's Fender Jag-Stang. What do y'all got?
Well,
I
Go
would
ahead.
think that out of those bands that came out of Seattle in the early 90s, I could see why he picked that one. The only other one that I can think of right off the top of my head would probably be Jerry Cantrell's Strat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
His GNL guitar, his Rampage.
Yeah. But I mean, as far as iconic goes, it's definitely not the first guitar I think of,
Yeah.
if at all. So,
Yeah.
What about you, Joel?
Well, for me, I mean, I have a little different perspective only because I play guitar. But I do think it's an interesting, iconic guitar because it goes along with Nirvana's aesthetic of just raw. You know, Nevermind was really produced, but they always wanted it to be raw. That's why their next album was so raw, and the first album before that was raw. But it goes along with their aesthetic of just being kind of like cheap guitars, and those guitars were really well made, but they were just, no one wanted them until Kurt Cobain comes along, and then all of a sudden you can't find one. So
Right.
I know for me, there's two guitars that he played. One is that guitar, and then the other one is the acoustic he played on the Unplugged, and those are the two that are for me synonymous with him. So that's definitely an iconic guitar and of course it wrote some of the best tunes. Actually, he wrote on on acoustic, but some of the most iconic tunes to come out of the 90s. So
Now, the Fender Jag-Stang, from what I was reading, Fender put out what, a Jaguar model and a Mustang model. Now, is this something that he himself combined, or did Fender combine it?
It was a Fender product.
Okay.
It was, a lot of times, like you'd have the Telecaster would come out, and then the Stratocaster would come out, and then you have somebody that would put them together. And a lot of people do things like that, or a lot of these instrument companies. So it wasn't uncommon. It was one of those things that when they put it together, kind of bombed. But like I said, he came and he liked it, and connected with it, and of course,
Yeah.
here we are today. So
Sweet.
yeah.
All right. Go ahead. Did you have something else to add?
No, that's a fun one to start off with. I'm
Okay.
liking this already.
Well, I tell you what, Mr. One Take himself's going to love number 20.
Yeah.
Absolutely going to love number 20. And it's part of the reason I picked this list, because a lot of the other ones did not have this guitar on it.
Okay.
And
Well, I
I actually
appreciate it.
think that this guitar belongs on this list. So this is James Hetfield's ESP Explorer with the words what on it? Do you remember?
Well,
It's-
eat fuck.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
His white one. His white one. Yeah.
one. So
Yeah.
take it away, homeboys, with
Well,
James Hetfield's.
well,
This is yours, man.
this is you can actually go on YouTube and watch a guy. Joel, I'll send you the link so you can link it in the video or whatnot. Or
Yeah,
I'll
please
link it
do.
in the video. But a guy buys an Explorer, not an ESP, a cheap knockoff, but the graphics and art that he puts on his white Explorer is inspired by James's white Explorer that has the words "eat fuck." And it's not even on the guitar; it's on a piece of medical tape that they put on the guitar. And he's got that guitar. He's got the one that has the Jägermeister sticker where in between the pickups. Yeah, if anybody who's a fan of Metallica, especially albums Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets, and Justice for All, and you see any pictures from that time period, you'll see him playing either that guitar or his white Flying V, which
Yeah.
I thought when you're like Mr. One Take himself, I thought, well, it's going to be either Kurt's Ouija board guitar or James's white Flying V.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. For me, when he mentioned Metallica, the two guitars I thought of were his black, Kirk's black ESP, because he played that on a ton of stuff too, and then the white.
Yeah, just a straight black one that says.
Yeah, it has a little. Yeah, it has a little orange
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, for me, and of course he still has that guitar, and he still plays it, but he doesn't take it on tour anymore because he's so many years of playing. But those are two
Yeah.
I thought of. But that white one, I mean, I have the Spawn Metallica set, and it has that white ESP on it. And there's also another one that's iconic just for me, mainly the Ouija one. And Kirk has a bunch of movie 50s horror movie ones. But
20s
the one
and 30s, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry. But I mean, like old movies. But then the one that really gets me is the diamond plated ESP that he has, that James has. It's a black matte, and he can't play it very long because it's got that metal plating on the front. But that's also a pretty iconic guitar. But yeah, for me, you can't get away from that Explorer. So that's fun.
At the risk of ruining any other guitars down the line, I mean, Kirk has a bunch. He has that that ESP Les Paul that has the not the Injustice for All, the Master of Puppets push head artwork down in the corner. He doesn't play that one live anymore.
Yeah.
And then he also has Greenie, right?
Yeah. So good stuff.
Man, we could do an entire episode on Metallica guitars.
We really could, and in fact, Metallica does. Kirk has a festival that's dedicated to the horror movie genres that he loves, those old classic horror movies, and he actually displays all of his guitars that he has. And I don't know if he's still doing it, but he did it for quite a while, and all of his collectibles, which is pretty cool. So. But yeah, we really could though.
Yeah.
On
So-
to the next one.
Number 19. I can't tell you anything that this guitar is played. Y'all probably can. It's Rick Nielsen's 5-neck hammer.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm
from
looking at a
Cheap
picture
Trick.
of this thing. This thing's insane.
Yeah, so he's another guy that has a ton of guitars, and my favorite one that he has is it's a Hamer guitar, and it's his body, and then the legs or the neck is his legs, and the headstock are his feet. But the funny thing about the five necked guitar is that I think only 2 or 3 of them actually work. The rest of it does. I mean, because if you've seen the guitar, a picture of it, which we'll have here, it's pretty ridiculous. But I don't know. The funny thing is, he did it for shows. I wonder if he ever recorded with it. I don't think he ever did. But he's also one of these guys that has hundreds of guitars. So
Yeah, well, for those of you who don't know who he is, he's the guitar player for Cheap Trick. That's kind of what he's known for, is just
Mhm.
these wild, outlandish guitars,
yeah,
right? Because you've got the 5 or 6 neck guitar, which is like why you would need that guitar. Like the one you said, his body and his leg, the neck, the 2 necks are his legs.
Mhm.
I mean, he plays it compared to those two. You know, he's got the checkerboard
yeah,
that he's got. I mean, that's a boring one compared to the two that. But that's kind of what he's known for. These gimmicky. I think my personal favorite is the yellow square one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. But you know, what gets lost in this discussion with his big, flashy, outlandish guitars is just how good a guitar player he really is.
Yeah, they write great pop songs.
Dude, I love Cheap Trick.
Yeah,
can't go wrong with I Want You to Want Me.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, now that you say that, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Surrender is another good one. In the 90s, they did The Flame.
Well, Ryan on Rock Band, the intro, the Come On Ladies and Gentlemen, ready, let's get ready to, that's Cheap Trick.
Got it. So number 18, we're going to get away from the rock genre for a minute.
Awesome.
So this is cool. So number 18 is Willie Nelson's Trigger.
Oh.
Look at it. There it is.
First of all, how that thing is still held together. That thing is beat to hell.
Yeah, it really is. What can you say?
I was just about to say, what can you say about Willie Nelson? And
now, is that a guitar? Is that a guitar that's so iconic that when he's buried, it needs to be buried with him, or does that need to go into like the rock and roll?
It needs to go into the Hall of Fame.
It needs to go into the Hall of Fame behind glass and all that.
Yeah, it will rank up there. I'm not going to say some of the names, but like I know there's got to be a Clapton guitar on there, or Pink Floyd guitar, or Gilmour guitar. Gilmour. It's one of those guitars that really needs to be. If you think about the number of years that he has played it, and you can look at old videos from like the 70s, he was playing it then. How many songs have been written on that guitar? How many? I know for me, there's a connection when I play an instrument, and the songs are in there. We're just helping him pull it out, and that's what that guitar. I mean, it's almost like it needs to be a shrine. I mean, but seriously, how many songs has he written?
I don't know, but it's how many songs? Has he written? Just period, has he written?
Yeah, because that guitar was his primary, instrument of choice. And the other thing that's crazy about it's all beat up to heck, and it still sounds great. Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, it's a 1969 model, so that tells you how old it is, right? I mean, he's had it for a while, and and if not how many songs have been written, but how many songs has he, just played on it, whether it's live or on the tour bus or at home or whatnot.
Yeah.
We'll talk about somebody who be at home here in Colorado.
Yeah.
The one thing that's interesting about this guitar and what y'all are talking about with it is there's a quote here on this where Willie Nelson is famously quoted saying, "When trigger goes, I'll quit."
Interesting.
And so that
Well,
goes
by
to
the
show you.
if you just go by looks alone, you would have thought Trigger went a long time
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
All right.
And you have to remember there was a time period where he couldn't play. He had surgery on his wrist, carpal tunnel. So he couldn't play. So I mean, it's just that's an amazing instrument. The fact that it's still together is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So we're going to stay out of the rock genre still. Now we're going to go something a little older. Now this is Bo Diddley's twang machine.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's also referred to as the rectangular guitar.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, like that is such a unique guitar. There's certain blues guys, well, there's certain musicians that do just outlandish things, and he is in that. The blues guys, kind of like Buddy Guy's guitar and some other people's guitar. That guitar is so weird, and for me, I can't see. And I know Rick Nelson has one from Cheap Trick, and there's some other guys, but I can't look at that guitar without thinking of Bo Diddley.
Right.
So it's just that will always. It's kind of like. Well, actually, I don't want to ruin the list, but it's like some other guys on this list. You can't see that guitar without it being in their hands.
Well, there's two things that I think of when I look at his guitar. One, like you said, you see that guitar, you think Bo Diddley.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, I look at that guitar and go, how the hell does it work? Like, how the hell does it? I mean, I'm sure it makes sound and everything, but how does it sound good? It just does not look like it lends itself to be a good sounding guitar, but yet somehow
that is true.
Right? Somehow in the hands of Bo Diddley, the thing makes magic. So
yeah. There's a funny story of Jerry Cantrell being on tour with Van Halen, and he said he's warming up, and Eddie comes up to him and says, "Hey, can I play your guitar?" And he's like, "Oh, of course." And he said he puts it in his hand, and it says it went from sounding like Jerry Cantrell to sounding like Eddie Van Halen. So there is something to be said about the instrument. There's only so much it can do. A lot of it comes, especially those stringed instruments, it comes from the hands. It comes from how hard do you hit? Do you use a pick? Do you use your fingers? So there is something, but it's funny you say that, because now that I'm thinking about how in the hell does that thing sound as good as it does, and he's classic, man. But it also, I mean, it lends to his sound, which is, it's classic. Classic.
And for
blues.
for any of y'all out there who may not know who any of these people are that we're talking about, go out and look them up on YouTube. Listen to some of their stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's phenomenal.
Yeah, it really is.
Especially the next guy.
Right on.
We've talked about him before. And here's the thing. I'm curious as if when I say this guitar, I'm curious as to if y'all will agree that this is his most famous guitar.
Okay.
So number 16 is Prince's Cloud.
Yeah, that was used in the. See, okay. When I think of Prince, I think of his Fernandez Telecaster, because that's what he used all through. In the video you like, Ryan, where he does My Guitar Gently Weeps.
Yeah.
That guitar is. He had a Telecaster, but then he had that Fernandez, which is like his main guitar, or at least in my opinion, that was the Purple Rain guitar. And then he used that all the way up through Purple Rain, and then I forget the next albums. I think it's Sign of the Times came after that, and that's when he got the Cloud guitar. And it is an iconic guitar, but like for me, I will always associate Prince with that Telecaster style. That will always be the one that I see, either that or the one he used for the Super Halftime Show.
The cymbal, the purple cymbal guitar.
Yeah, because that's just such an iconic scene. But what about you, Fisher?
And yeah, that's the guitar, I guess. I don't really, I mean, yeah, I really don't see Prince as a guitar player with as great as a guitar player as he is.
Yeah.
My image in my head or whatnot of Prince is he's just an entertainer, right? And so yeah, the Cloud guitar, I just had to look it up real quick because I didn't know exactly which one it was. but that's the guitar that I see when I think of Prince, followed by the cymbal guitar.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, that's I kind of think that's why he got a guitar that looked like that, was to kind of, hey, when you think of me, this is what the guitar you're gonna think of. So
Mhm.
he
It's
was all,
iconic.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's what he was about. He was about being iconic. He was about his presence and whatnot. So it fits him.
Yeah. I agree.
So this next one, I don't know who this is.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just going to throw that out there right now. Don't
Okay.
know. So
Okay.
it's number 15, Matt Bellamy's Black Chaos Manson.
That is the guitar player for Muse. And what it is he has this, if I remember correctly, it's a Telecaster body.
Yeah,
And it's got what they call a chaos pad. And the chaos pad is typically used for like DJs. So it's basically a screen that you can set certain parameters to. So like this side has certain sound, this side has certain sound. So all four sides have a sound. And then you can, as music is played through it, you can drag your fingers into different areas. And so like if you've ever listened to techno music where it gets all tinny and then it gets loud and you just drag your fingers. So, but his is located at the back end of the body. I can't even believe I pulled that out of my rear. I know
you
exactly
did a
that
good
guitar.
job.
Man.
You did a good
But
job.
I'll tell you, for me personally, I don't have a guitar tied to him, but I do. That guitar that's pretty cool. I don't know if it's iconic, but it's definitely. I would love to play with it. So
I'll go along with I'll go along with the, I don't know if it's iconic. I definitely associate that guitar with him. He's the
yeah,
only person out there that I've seen play that guitar. And, when he uses the pad, what it reminds me of is Tom Morello,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And how Tom Morello doesn't need the pad to sound like that. But,
yeah,
you know what? I'm not disparaging the use of the pad or whatnot. Just saying,
yeah,
Tom Morello was doing that before those guitars came out.
yeah.
Anyway,
That is true. No, but that is a true point. I mean, Tom Morello, he used a whammy and he used a kill switch, and that's how he was able to get his sounds with his delay. But I think that's a fair argument. I mean,
so
it's just a paintbrush,
yeah, just a paintbrush.
just a paintbrush.
Well,
And you know who
it's
Muse is, right? You
yes, I know
right?
Muse.
Okay,
Yes,
yeah.
but it's funny y'all talk about Tom Morello because coming in at number 14
Oh,
is
is it
Tom
the Arm the
Morello's
Homeless?
Arm the Homeless guitar.
Yeah. No, that's a great. That is. Yeah. I
That's
mean,
iconic.
yeah,
Yes, it is.
he's got a couple guitars, but that's really for anyone that watched. I mean, he switched to some various other instruments later on, but that really is his like go-to instrument. So,
And he's selling it.
oh, he is.
Is he
Is he
Yeah.
really?
like
Joel, you
like?
better start bidding now.
Oh God, there's no man. There's there's actually a guitar that's got to be on this list, and when we get there, I'll tell you.
It's never mind. It's a replica. Never mind.
Oh well,
But yes,
but there's
that's the guitar I think of. That and how he never cuts his strings.
yeah,
I-
dude, that's
He never cuts his strings. And there's
but only on that one. But only on that guitar. All his other guitars are cut.
yeah, but that guitar,
I mean, it's just so weird.
I saw an interview that he did with, uh, I want to say it was Dave Grohl, and they were talking about his guitar, and that guitar has been on every album that Rage Against the Machine wrote. It was on. How many did Audioslave do? 2,
I think they did 3.
3. It
I
was
think
on
they did
all
3
3 of
albums.
those albums. Like that's his guitar. Like he says he writes all his stuff on that guitar, and he gets asked all the time why he doesn't cut the strings at the headstock, and he was just like, well, he was tying it into with how he does solos and stuff. He was like, I was never going to be the fastest guy out there or the most technical, so I came up with soloing how I solo and left the strings uncut just for a look. And but yeah, that's that guitar definitely belongs in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know of any, well, except for maybe the Chaos guitar, because that's not as iconic. But every guitar on this list so far could be
Is
in displayed.
Yeah,
So.
every guitar except for the one we just talked about.
so
Not Tom Morello's, the one before.
sure.
Yeah.
So number 13 comes in when I read this list. Number 13, for me, because I'm not as knowledgeable as you guys, this is like truly for me the first iconic guitar when I saw it, and it's Zakk Wylde's Bullseye Gibson Les Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that guitar that we talked about. We talked about No More Tears last week, and that guitar's in the video.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, that's the one that he lost or got stolen, and someone bought in a pawn shop and returned it to him.
I'm not sure. I know there's a couple guitars that he lost. I know the one that I do know for sure, and there's two that I think of, the Bullseye, and then he had one that he would crack open beer bottles and he would press the caps, and so he had all these caps in it. I do know that one was lost. I don't know if it was ever returned, but yeah, I mean that guitar is such an iconic guitar, and it's funny because he knew that he couldn't get a guitar like Randy's, and he had to come up with something like his own, and that's how the Bullseye came up, because it was kind of similar but kind of different, and that's all in those early videos with Ozzy. So
number 12, we're actually going to bend the rules a little bit.
Hey, hold on. Before we go on, does Zakk Wylde's Bullseye belong in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Of course.
I say yes.
Of course.
Okay.
Now, with number 12,
along with his beard and those big leather things he wears on his arms.
We're going away from a guitar and we're going to go to a bass.
Oh, ooh.
Bass guitar. So,
okay.
I mean,
I'm going to say it's a Rickenbacker. And
oh, we're gonna guess now.
Are we guessing? Is that what we're doing?
No, I am.
Okay, we'll go guess. Let's see.
I'm gonna say it's Paul McCartney's. It's either a Rickenbacker or Paul McCartney's bass.
Or the violin bass.
The violin bass.
Mm-hmm. Sure, I'll go with it.
It is Gene Simmons' Axe bass.
Oh.
I don't know if I'd put that on the list.
No, yes. The answer to that answer is yes, my friend. Nothing was scarier as a kid for seeing Gene Simmons do two things: spit blood all over the place and play an axe as a bass. I mean, I was scared to death, which is so funny because if you listen to his songs now, they're not scary at all. They're all about love and all this other stuff and getting love and made for loving you. But man, I tell you, he scared the crap out of me, man.
I know there are a lot of Kiss fans out there, and our number one fan, Mark Hudgens, is a huge Kiss fan. But I just don't see it. I mean, I get the look, the aesthetic and whatnot, but it's a gimmick. That's all that band is one big fat gimmick.
Well, but to be fair, they wrote good songs and they just wanted to be performers. And so I'm not knocking
their hustle.
Yeah, see, right? for me personally, like I don't have a problem with Kiss because they admit who they are. Like they know what they are. And they're not like, hey, we want to be serious musicians and we're gonna play, Britney Spears pop
they're
songs.
all about the money.
They are like, no, we want to sell as many records as we can. We want to be with as many chicks as we can. And we want to sell, if we can put Kiss on a bar of soap and sell it, we'll do it. I mean, they're very much aware of it. They were who they thought they were, it's like, yeah. So, but I think that bass is classic. I totally am okay with that pick.
Okay. All right. Well, let's move on to number 11. We're going back to guitar now. Okay. Now this will be Neil Young's Old Black Gibson Les Paul.
Oh yeah, the one he used with Crazy Horse. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't. I tie him as a person, not necessarily his instrument. Like that to me is
Right. Yeah.
Everything else. I've been like, oh, I tie those instruments to those people. With him, I see him more as an acoustic player. Though that's the guitar I think of. His Martin, his old school beat up Martin. But that's just me.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, but I mean, he's a great guitar player. I mean, he's got to be on the list.
Well, okay. Well, let's crack top 10.
Hey,
Let's
real
do
quick,
it.
on your list, as we're cracking top 10, before we get there, is there another Kiss person on this list?
I don't know. I haven't gone all the way through it yet. I forgot what's on it.
Because we may have to revisit this Kiss because there's an instrument that I think is way more iconic
Well, we'll see.
than that one.
We'll
But we'll come
see.
back to it. Okay.
So top 10. Here we go. We're going back to bass.
Effing
Okay,
Kiss.
let's do it.
And
Bass
we're gonna go Paul McCartney's Hofner.
You were close, Fisher.
Yeah, I was too away.
Yeah, the violin looking.
bass.
Yeah. That's I mean, you can't think of, the Rickenbacker and that bass are the two. You can't separate those from Paul McCartney. It's almost like if you were to wake him up in the middle of the night, the bass would be attached to his body. That's how closely associated he is to the.
Yeah.
Now, does that bass, as the question comes up, I asked earlier, does that bass go in the ground with him when he dies, or does it go in the Hall of Fame?
I personally, and I'm so honored that some people have done that for other people. Like Dimebag was buried with one of Eddie Van Halen's guitars, but for me, I would rather have a place to see those instruments, or even better yet, have it to where someone can actually play those instruments. And that's kind of where I'm at on that type of stuff. I wish I would never want to bury that stuff. That's just me personally.
I'm right there with him.
Yeah.
It belongs in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, like the Hall of Fame or a museum.
It belongs in the Hall of Fame, but you can go up and you can play it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Or to preserve the instrument, maybe not play the exact instrument that he played, but a replica of that instrument. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
All right. Number 9. Another one. When I saw this list, I was like, yes, this is iconic. This is Randy Rhoads' Polka Dot Flying V.
What can you say?
Hands down.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's synonymous with him and that and the Concorde, the Jackson Concorde. Those are the two guitars that are just, yeah. And the Concorde is the other Flying V that he played. So I 100% agree with that. And yes, it needs to be displayed. I believe his mom still owns those guitars, but I would love to. Yeah.
Yes, those definitely belong. Pardon me, in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And
now, is that guitar the Polka Dot Flying V? Out of every guitar that we've mentioned on this list up to this one, would you say that this one would probably sell for the most, or is there something else before this that would sell for more than this Polka Dot Flying?
There's a couple that I think would sell more.
I think Willie Nelson's would sell more. That's just me.
Probably
because he's just so widespread. There's other people that I believe are going to be further down on this list, and I know how much those guitars, or approximately how much those guitars went for. But that, I mean, I think the only one on this list so far that could compete with the Randy Rhoads would be Willie Nelson's. And to be honest, if I was buying it, I would prefer to buy Willie's.
You like buying Willie's, okay? Yeah, ladies, he's single.
Hey, I don't have to buy them.
If you're a lady with a Willie.
That joke backfired. It backfired, guys.
Wow.
A lady with a Willie. Come on.
Oh.
We'll go straight to number 8.
Yes, please do.
Now, I don't know. This is another one. I don't know who this is, but it's Brian May's Red Special.
Oh, that's Queen.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's Queen's guitar player. Yeah, that's the Fisher, you want to take this one?
If I'm not mistaken, he actually kind of designed and built that guitar himself.
Yeah, him and his dad.
Yeah, because all the guitars out there that he played, he wasn't getting the sound that he wanted. So that's what he came up with. And just like, Bo Diddley and his Twang Master, I could say some others, but I want to save it because I'm pretty sure they're on the list.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what's hard about this list.
Or like James and his Explorer, which you don't really have to say the white one because that's all he really plays is Explorer. So it could be his black one that he played on the Black Album, whatnot. Anyway, when you think Brian May, you think of that red guitar because that's all he plays. Like I guess he has, several different ones, but it's always the same, right? You see him on stage, he's playing that red guitar.
Yeah.
And it sounds phenomenal.
Yeah. What's crazy about his whole thing is he built the entire thing. So it's not like he made the pickups and he wired all the connections, and I don't think he forged the bridge or the nuts or anything like that, but the tuning pegs. But he built almost the entire nice. He built the entire thing. And what's also crazy about him is he plays with a coin, just like Eddie Van Halen. Eddie played with metal, but Brian May plays with a coin, a European coin, and he records most of it through a real tiny amp. So it's just crazy some of the stuff he does, and yet it sounds. I mean, actually, I was listening to Bohemian Rhapsody today, and go check out the post we did on it. But he's a brilliant player, and again, I'm like with Fisher, you can't look at him without seeing that guitar. I know he's played other ones like Telecasters and stuff, but it'll always be that guitar, always.
Number 7.
Yeah.
So number 7 for me is the most iconic guitar on the whole list.
That's
for me. No, that's for me.
I guess.
Damn it! If it's not yours, then this ain't for you.
Okay.
Can I guess which one it is?
Go ahead.
Blackie, David Gilmour's guitar.
That is not correct.
I'm gonna take. I don't think it'd be this high on the list, but I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say Frankenstein.
Yes, Eddie Van Halen's Frankenstrat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
For me, yeah.
Why don't you tell us about it? We've been talking so much about it. Why don't you tell us about your feelings on this guitar?
On this guitar?
Yeah.
Well, so the thing is I can't tell you what albums this went off. I'm assuming, did he play this on all of his albums?
So the thing is there's a couple of different guitars that he kind of made at the same time. So he played that one. That one's on the Jump video. But
Okay.
he also had like his 5150 guitar, which that was a Kramer. Well, it wasn't technically a Kramer, but it had a Kramer neck. That to me that's his most iconic guitar to me, but it's almost identical to the Frankenstrat. It's just the front looks a little different. But he played that one in the 5150 like a lot until he got his own guitars that he started making.
That's the guitar you see in. Remember when we did the tribute video?
Yeah.
And we talked about watching that live concert on YouTube. That's the guitar he's playing in that concert.
Yeah. The artwork on the guitar for me is one of those. It's like, I love it. I think the artwork on the guitar is just cool. I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah. I recently watched an old MTV video where they were invited into the studio, and he pulled out that guitar and amongst some other stuff he talked about. And it was so amazing because he would break guitars all the time and then have to fix them, and he'd replace necks and do all this crazy stuff to them. And that guitar, when they actually they made a replica of it, they sent it to the guitar builders, and they open up the case and they're just in reverence of, and then they had to take the pickup out, and he actually wound the pickup and he dipped it in the wax that he did, and they're like, how in the hell did he do all this? Because he didn't know what he was doing. He was just playing around. And what's funny is they were trying to unhook wires, and then they realized all the wires, like half of them weren't even like doing anything.
Doing anything.
They were just there. And here's this, like, this is a guy that literally is like the rock god of our era, you know, and yet
Yeah.
he's playing this ragtag instrument. So anyone who wants to dive into some just crazy guitar stuff, check out the history of the Frankenstrat. It's definitely entertaining, and there's a video that's floating right now on MTV on or from MTV on Facebook, and it's really interesting hearing him talk about it. So it's pretty crazy.
And I need to self-correct. Blackie is Eric Clapton's guitar, not David Gilmour's.
Yeah, that's correct.
So there you
Blackie and Brownie.
Let's move to number 6. We're almost to a top 5, but number 6 is Tony
Thanks.
Iommi's Old Boy SG.
Yeah.
He's the one that made the SGs popular, I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, other than Angus Young and the SG type guitar, which is actually a guild by the guitar player for Soundgarden, name me someone else who's iconic with the SG. I mean, it was built for him. I mean, it's like God knew, you know, when it was built. So
Yeah.
Or let's
Again,
crack-
one of those guitars that put in the right hands sounds phenomenal.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, and it's left-handed
It is.
too.
Yeah. Left-handed.
We're going to crack the top 5. Number 5, for me, I'm like, really? Okay. Y'all may think totally different when I name this. But when I saw this at number 5, and now don't forget, I put at the beginning of this episode that this list isn't in any particular order, but maybe it is. I don't know. But for number 5, Jack White's Airline.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because I mean that's when the White Stripes really kicked off, and you know that was a toy guitar. It's like plastic, and what he took from it was, I mean, he wanted this garage rock aesthetic, and that's I mean he's got other guitars now, but for me that when I think of Jack White, that's the guitar I think of.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I guess I'm not really a White Stripes fan, and so
Yeah.
for me, I'm like, really? Like, you're gonna put
But-
that in front, like on the list, you're putting that in front of freaking Van Halen. Like, what are you
Yeah.
doing?
Well, if this is
But it's no, but
instruments
it's no.
of importance, I'm 100% with you. But I do think it is better on the list than like some of the guitars that we've had early on.
Yeah, like that axe bass. Yeah.
The axe bass
Better than
belongs
that.
though.
It does. It does.
All right, number
you can't think of Jack White without that guitar, and I think that's what should qualify a guitar for this list. Is when you see that guitar, your mind immediately goes to a specific artist,
Yeah.
and when you see that guitar, White Stripes, hands down,
and
Jack White.
And when you see that axe bass, you go to Kiss.
Just
It's all good. Number 4. We'll move right along to number 4. Keith Richards. What is it? McAlber? Is that how you pronounce it? I don't know. Fender Telecaster.
Yeah.
yeah. I'm surprised it's not number 1.
The picture I'm looking at, I mean, for me, it just looks like some regular everyday guitar.
Yeah. But I mean,
Because
you
he's had it
can't.
forever.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. How many
That's
times
all-
can Joel say yeah in a row?
Yeah. That's all you can say about that. Take a shot every time I said yeah. No, I mean, it's hard to see Keith Richards with anything other than a Telecaster. In fact, I'm not even sure I've seen him with anything other than a Telecaster. So, I agree with that pick.
Well, I mean, there's pictures. I'm looking at pictures of him online right now playing a regular Strat and a Les Paul, but that Telecaster, that's what he. Anytime I've seen him live, it's been, with the exception of 2 or 3 songs, it's been that Telecaster or some kind of variation of like a different Telecaster. But if it's the one I'm thinking of, the light tone with the dark pickup or pick guard, is it that one?
I think so.
But it's got so it's kind of like a yellowy light tone
Yeah.
with a black pick guard. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's the one. All right, next one.
Top 3. Here we go.
Top 3.
Top 3. So in at number 3, Jimi Hendrix's Monterey Fender Stratocaster.
Hmm.
Now, is
Which
that the
is-
one he set on fire?
Yeah,
Okay.
at the Monterey Pop Festival.
Hmm.
Got it.
Yeah.
It's the one. It's the one that you see him play behind his head or play with his teeth. You
Yeah.
know, that's it, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the guitar. That's the one that started it all. And I think, you know,
I mean, how many people don't listen to Jimi Hendrix, but they have the visual of him playing, and then they don't know any of the songs. They don't know what he was playing at the time that he did it, and then he lights the guitar on fire. So
right.
everybody's
that
seen that image.
Did that guitar survive that or no?
No, because
Like-
he broke it in pieces, and from what I understand, he threw the pieces into the audience.
Okay.
And there was an article that was done a few years ago, and I don't know if they've updated it, but they were trying to locate all the different pieces so they could reassemble it. But I don't know if they ever did. But it's I mean, it's a beautiful moment in rock history, and that guitar. It's not just tied to Jimmy, but it's tied to just the whole chaotic movement of the late '60s and the war and all the other stuff. It just kind of all culminated, and that guitar just seems to be the centerpiece of that. So.
Sure.
I am loving, this is my favorite episode. If it sucks to everybody, I love this episode. This is like the best.
I told you it was going to be in your wheelhouse.
Oh my gosh, this is great.
We've got 2 left. 2 left.
Yeah.
So
God.
I'm going to tell y'all right now. There are going to be guitars that are not on this list, and y'all are going to be pissed off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm already
Yeah.
thinking of a couple
You're
right
going
now.
to be pissed off.
Yeah.
We'll get through these next 2, and then y'all can like scream and yell at this list. So number 2 is Angus Young's JDSG.
No,
Okay.
I don't think it belongs
Neither do I.
up above. Like part of it is, I mean, you can't think of Angus Young without a SG. I get that.
Right.
But like it's not more iconic than some of the other guitars that we've talked about, and that's a little disheartening with this list, you know.
Yeah, because we've only got one spot left, and I can think of 3 right off the top of my head.
Oh yeah. So I'm kind of curious to see what let's just rip off the Band-Aid. What is the number 1?
Number 1,
Okay.
numero uno,
Uno.
is Jimmy Page's Gibson Les Paul Standard.
Yeah. I mean, I can't argue that pick. I
For
can't
number
argue
1?
for number.
I again, no particular order, but
Yeah. But I mean, you can't separate him from that instrument, and I do know where you're going with this, and I do 100% agree. But I'm not upset about him being at 1 or 2 or 3 or even 5. That guitar is just iconic. I'm
glad that his was the number 1 out of
Yeah.
all of the ones that are on the list. I'm glad his is number 1. But
Yeah.
how do you have this list without David Gilmour's black guitar?
yeah.
Or hell, even the red one he played on
Yeah.
shoot.
Momentary
I
lapse
can't
of
think of-
reason.
Yeah, but the live concert that
Yeah.
I can't
yeah.
think of it right off the top of it. Anyway,
Eclipse.
yeah.
Yeah.
How you can't have Eric Clapton's Blackie or Browning.
Yeah.
Stevie Ray Vaughan's.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the
Strap.
SRV guitar or the shell guitar.
Slash's Gibson Les Paul.
Yeah. Well, and the original Les Paul he played wasn't a Les Paul; it was a copy. I mean, yeah, you're 100% right. I mean,
I can think of
Levi's
3
Jim guitar.
Yes, I can think of 3 guitars right
Yeah.
now. 2 of them aren't even they're guitars, but they don't have as many strings as the others.
Yeah.
I can think of 3 that I could take off this list and put
Yeah.
other more iconic guitars on there.
Yeah.
Well, I
No,
saw another
I
list that
agree.
I was looking at that, and that was the thing. If I would have picked another list, it would have had Slashes on it, or it would have had David Gilmour's on it. But then we're taking away some of these that y'all were like, absolutely, it should be on there.
Yeah.
You know, so there was some give and take. The one that was on another list was there was a Tom Petty 12-string guitar that was on another
Yeah,
list.
it was a Rickenbacker, I think, is what he
Yes.
played back in the day. So like American Girl and all that stuff. That's a 12 string. Yeah, and I think it's on the Damn the Torpedoes album cover. It's him holding it. I mean, yeah, I mean the thing is, you know, I'm a guitar player and I have these images of people playing guitars, but like everyone that you just mentioned, Fisher, is when I think of them as an artist, that's the first thing I think of is those guitars. When I think of Tom Petty, I mean, I don't see a specific guitar. Bellamy from Muse, like he's a great guitar player,
Right.
great artist, but I don't associate him with that guitar. That easily could have been replaced by somebody else. And you know, the other thing, and
Well,
I was asking
but like with
earlier
Angus Young,
yeah,
go ahead.
well,
I mean,
yeah, but at least you see that guitar on him. So I'm like, okay, I could at least validate that pick. But
yeah, but the first thing you think of when you think of Angus Young is the schoolboy outfit,
yeah, well,
not
yeah.
Well, see, for
not
me,
the
so like if
guitar.
y'all were to ask me, so me not being as, you know, musically sound as you are, but if y'all were to ask me, okay, the guitar player for AC/DC, what do you think of when we say Angus Young, guitar player AC/DC? I will say exactly what Christian just said. I've said he plays in this weird schoolboy outfit with a hat, but
Yeah.
then he's got that really like weird looking red guitar that is the SG. And so, I mean, I see the guitar there, but like Christian said, his schoolboy outfit's the first thing that I go to.
Yeah.
But the guitar is in that image as well, for me anyway.
Yeah, well, and I think Rick Nelson, even though I mean, at least his guitars are iconic, but like, you know, I think we're kind of getting into an area of yeah, that's the problem with these lists is that there's always going to be something that's left off. But
Well,
I
it's
mean,
subjective.
well, and if you think about it, like just SRV, you can't think of SRV without that messed up Strat with the stickers on it. I can't get away from the black Strat that Clapton played on, even though Brownie was just as popular. And I think those guitars combined sold for like $2 or $3 million. Just the, you know, it's just amazing. But Gilmour's guitar is so iconic. I mean, he painted it black. It was yeah. We could
Is
talk
there?
about this stuff all
Well,
day.
here's this. So I'll ask this and we'll move on to our first listen. But let me ask this real quick because this name hasn't come up. Is there an iconic guitar that goes along with Carlos Santana?
The PRS.
Paul Reed Smith.
Yeah, that's
and now, I mean, I couldn't tell you what he played back in the 70s.
he played an
60s
SG
and
back in the
70s.
70s. Yeah, when he was at Woodstock, he played an SG. But you know, when Paul Reed Smith, when they courted him, that was a really really good decision because that's all he paid, or that's all he plays now. And I want to say his guitar is like $15,000, like to buy off the shelf. I mean, it's or something like that. It's something ridiculous. It's like 10 or 15,000. But I mean, yeah, Carlos Santana. I mean, that's his. You know, another instrument that's not on this list is Buckethead's guitar. His Les Paul, that white Les Paul with the trigger on it and stuff. I mean,
or John Five's Telecaster.
Or John Five's it's Telecasters. I mean,
But that's what he's known for. He's known for Telecasters.
Yeah, he's got hundreds of them. Yeah, so yeah, you know, that's the hard part with these lists. I mean, is there another artist that you're thinking of, Gurfers, that makes you think of an instrument? Because that actually is a good one. Is Carlos Santana? Is you know?
No, I mean y'all mentioned them already. You know, the David Gilmour, Eric Clapton, you know, Slash, all those guys. I mean, they're really no, not that I can think of offhand right now.
Yeah.
Well, you've got.
Or what about BB King?
BB King is Lucille.
Yeah.
He's got Lucille.
You've got oh, I can't think of his Dave Mustaine and his Jackson anything,
Yeah.
right?
Now
Usually it's a
Dean.
Jackson Flying V.
Yeah.
Yeah, now
Yeah.
Dean. But
Yeah.
back in the day, it was Jackson. But for me, the only other artist that when I think of them, the instrument that pops is Cliff Burton and his Rickenbacker, his red and white Rickenbacker.
Yeah.
That he played forever.
Yeah.
So.
Or what about Buddy Guy? His polka dot, black and white polka dot Strat.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there's a
Notice
like
a lot of these iconic guitars are Strats.
Yeah.
Well, and then we'll finish with this one, and then we'll move on.
Okay.
But there's one other guitar, and it's the all wood grain with the wood grain pick guard that Joel played ever. Man, that guitar right there, like all wood grain, like the natural.
That guitar is pretty slick looking.
Yeah, it's a 76 Ash Strat body with a Tom Anderson neck. Tom Anderson now makes his own guitars, but back in the day he did parts. And I got it verified. It's a Tom Anderson neck. And then whoever bought it, they took it to a woodworking shop and they made a custom pickguard. And it is so thick, but it's funny because that guitar is heavy as all get out. And when I bought it, and I'll put a picture up. Maybe I'll put a long-haired Joel picture up when I do this.
It.
But when I bought it, the funny thing about it is I had time to kill. I went to this music store called Great Southern Music in Houston. My dad and I used to visit it all the time. And while I was there, this guy was like, "Hey, check out this guitar." So I play it, and I said, "Can I borrow your phone?" Because at the time there was no cell phones. At least I didn't have one. So I called my mom from this guy's phone, and I was like, "Hey, can you buy this?" She said, "Come home. We'll take a look at it. We'll go back together and get it." So she got off work. We went to go get it, and it was gone. And I was like, "Oh God!" Like, have y'all even heard this story? Like,
no.
So it was gone, and so I was so disappointed. This was like the beginning of the school year. So Christmas rolls around. We're opening presents, and then the last present, my mom said, I got one more present for you," and I'd already forgot about the guitar. And so she pulls out this, and I'd never seen the case of it. It was just a guitar. This case, I don't know how many cases of beer have been spilt on it, but when I open it up, it literally smelled like cigarettes and like hooker sweat. It was so, it just permeated out of the, I actually still have the case. I don't use it, but I still have the case. And so I open it up and I see this guitar and I'm like, oh my gosh. And that guitar smelled like cigarettes for years. It took years for it to finally, it doesn't smell like it anymore. But whoever had it also tried to put some type of finish on it. So anytime I played a gig outside, it would turn the whole thing white. So nice. it is a great guitar, but yeah, it's a great story.
With that story, you went back and it wasn't there. So
yeah.
Somebody else had bought it?
No, my mom called the guy and said, put it in the back and just tell him that someone else bought it.
Got it.
And so she wanted to surprise me, and it ended up being my main instrument while I was at North Texas. So, and I've used it pretty much on anything I've ever recorded since. So it's but yeah, it's that's a good moment. I'm glad I got to share
right
that.
there. And we'll just leave it at
awesome.
that. We'll leave it at that, and we'll go straight.
That's my number one.
Listen. Man, let me tell you what. I mean, yeah, lots of good memories with that guitar for me too.
Yeah.
Well, good.
Riding in the back seat, asleep in a car on the way to. We won't go
Twice.
There it is. Skunks and everything.
Oh my gosh.
All right, so I got the first.
Oh no! It happened again.
Oh no! It's Joel's week to not be able to listen to the first listen because he's gonna be crying over there.
Oh my god!
Look at
so
him.
good. Oh
it's
my
all right.
god!
Let Rosie wipe your tears away. It's okay. All right. So first listen. Now I don't know if either of you have heard this song before. I'm not going to tell you who it is. I'm just going to play it. If y'all have heard this, oh well, we're going to listen to it anyway because I like it. So,
okay, I like it.
All I'm going to give you is it's a cover. And where I found out about this was scrolling through Facebook, and somebody had posted this on Facebook. And I was like, I'm going to go listen. I did, and I liked it.
Okay.
Here we go.
Reddick.
Something's been going on and I don't know what it is. Oh, you demand the taking, girl, but you don't know how to give. Oh, you drove me crazy, but I don't know, baby. You're thinking that it's me you're fooling. Where's the writing?
Hanson.
It's got to be Hanson. No, this has got to be Bowling for Soup covering Hanson. I
I
like
like the
this.
song.
Can you tell me what you see whenever you look around? We're tripping all over ourselves and we're pulling each other down. We're separating, consciousness is fading. You're thinking that it's me you're fooling. Where's the writing? All of our fighting. Look at what you're doing. Where's the love? It's not enough. Makes the world go round and round and round. Where's the love? Give it up. It makes the world go round and round and round. Yeah. Dark clouds all around, lightning red pouring down. Waiting for the bright light to break through. Down on the ground, pick us up at the lost and found. We've got to change our point of view if we want the sky blue. We're segregating, consciences are fading. You're thinking that it's me, you're fooling, yeah. Where's the writing? Run, love, or fighting? Look at what you're doing. Where's the love? It's not enough. It makes the world
I
go
like that part.
round and round and where's the love? Just give it up. It makes the world go round and round and where's the love? It's not enough. It makes the world go round and round and where's the love? Just give it up. It makes the world go round and round and round.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So-
I love that song, and
So-
I've never heard that.
Good. You never
Covered.
heard it. That's what I'm talking about. So you were absolutely correct. That is Bowling for Soup doing Hanson.
Now, did they have Hanson sing with them too?
Because it sure sounded like
It
him.
sounded
yes.
like it.
It was yes, it was a collaboration that they had going there.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm going to say it. I'm going to go on the record and I'm going to say it. That version's better than the original.
Oh
No.
no.
Oh, yes.
No.
Oh no.
No, it's good.
Absolutely.
It is good, but it's not better than the original.
Oh, yes, it is. The heavy guitar alone is what, puts it over the top for me. I just like it better
Well, you can like
than
it, but
listening
it
to a
doesn't mean
bunch of
it is
little
better.
girls sing it. Say again?
You just listen to those same little girls sing it,
Yeah, I know.
according to you.
That's okay, but they didn't sound like little girls anymore.
Well, they're
So-
grown men now.
That's right.
Uh,
They've got 3 hairs on their chest.
I mean, no, they're. I mean, Fisher and I have a bond with Hanson. It brought us
Hanson.
closer together. We became friends over Hanson button, and that was on my backpack.
That's how we met.
That's how we met. And in North Texas, you know, and so anytime I hear Hanson, it's hard for me to separate our friendship from that band. Even though
Right.
I don't, the funny part about it is I don't know. This may be the first time we've actually listened to Hanson together. We've talked about it a million times, but I don't know if we ever listened to Hanson. So we just completed the circle, my brother.
Right on.
But you know, those guys are so talented.
Now you're talking about Hanson. I don't want to leave Bowling for Soup
Oh
off
no,
the
I'm
table
gonna
here
come
with.
full circle. I'm
Okay.
gonna go. You know, Hanson is such a talented group, and you know, I love that it seems like they never compromised who they are, and they've even covered like Radiohead. They've covered great groups, and they do it really well. But then you know, Bowling for Soup, you know, Dallas, Texas, or Denton, Texas, I guess you'd say. Those guys are just, you know, I've met them, I've hung out with them. Some of the greatest guys you'll ever meet, and I'm so glad they're still playing and still making music. Just I can't say anything. I mean, if you've never listened to Bowling for Soup, you know, 1985 is the go-to track. Girl, all the bad guys want. Come back to Ohio. I mean, or sorry, come back to Texas. Um, I just such great songwriters, such great musicians, and they are one of the funniest and funnest bands to see live. Up there with Blink 182 and all of those, for lack of a better term, pop punk bands. So, great track. I'm so glad that we got to listen to this. You did well.
We saw Bowling for Soup live together at Edgefest back in like 99, 2000.
Yeah, I saw him last year, the year before. I can't remember. Was it last year, or the year before with Brock at the Vans Warped Tour, the last show at Vans Warped Tour in Dallas, Fair Park, and they were still great. I mean, they even had their kids on stage. I mean, they're just so good, man. But yeah, that show that we saw them at was so good as well. So I saw them in small clubs. I saw them at the Groovy Mule in Denton. I used to see them
Oh,
at
the Groovy Mule.
I mean, I've seen them in so many
R.I.P. Groovy
places.
Mule.
So anyway, good stuff. I'm so glad you played this. That is such a great. You were 100% right. This is two for me that you played that I've really enjoyed. So
So
Winners
which
for
two
love.
were those? This one and what was the other one?
the King
The King
Singers.
Singers.
Oh, you didn't like the Chris Cornell cover?
No, I liked that one. I liked that one,
Okay.
but those last two, you did the King Singers and you did this one, and those were ones that I just really liked. So
There you
I'd
go.
already heard the other one.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
wouldn't- I've heard the Chris Cornell one
yeah.
too many
So.
times to count. So
Yeah, but this is great. This has been a great episode. If you have comments, if there's an instrument that we brought to the table that you have disagreements with, if there's an instrument that you think should be on the list, I mean, we didn't cover microphones or anything like that. I guess we could do an episode of iconic microphones. But
iconic drum sets.
okay, iconic drum sets. If there's a instrumentalist that you're thinking of that isn't on the list, that should have been, let us know. If you liked things like this that we're doing, you know, comment, subscribe to our channel. Let us know that you're following. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcast, just pop on over to YouTube, subscribe to our channel, put it in there that you're listening. Hey, Morocco, we're talking to you. We know you're near Russia, so you have satellites that can get right to us. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check out the mini-sode where I'm an idiot. But seriously, check the box. Let us know. Click on the button. Subscribe. Follow us on all the different platforms. If you want to know what Ryan did on the road trip, you know, subscribe. Send him an email. Maybe we'll respond back. Follow us also on Instagram and on Facebook. We got some really cool stuff that's coming out. We're also going to be releasing some merch really soon. So follow us. And Fisher from Colorado.
From Colorado.
From Colorado. Tell us, what channels can we expect today?
Well, going along with guitar, one of the, not that I play guitar, but sometimes I watch how to play this on guitar. And one of the channels I watch is a guy named Ben Eller, and he's really popular on YouTube for taking metal songs and what if they were written in a major key instead of, you know, yeah, and that kind of stuff. Or this is why you suck at playing guitar. That's like his main videos. Like, here's this riff from, a Metallica song or a Megadeth song that you've been playing wrong, right? And so he's got a weird sense of humor, but it's a good channel, especially if you're wanting to learn how to play guitar, and especially if you want to learn how to play metal. Watch his channel, Ben Eller.
Ben Eller.
And yeah, Eller. And then, pardon me, the last one is the Punk Rock MBA, and it's a dude about our age. Talks a lot about punk rock, so it goes hand in hand with Bowling for Soup and what we just listened to today. And he does a lot of deep dives, a lot of what happened to this band, or the behind the scenes of writing this album or this song. So go check him out.
Sweet. Guitars.
Axe
Basses. Man, that's what I'm talking about. Hey, like they said, like, subscribe, comment. If there's a list that you want us to go over, let us know, because I like lists. Lists are fun, especially when they don't know what it's about. That's what it's all about. Okay. Keeping these guys on their toes.
I thought the hokey pokey was what it was all about.
No, it is not. But that's okay. But hey, what we're going to do, we're going to have some really, really awesome stuff coming up for you. MTV's turning 40 this year. Stay tuned for an MTV episode. Music video heavy. So we
a lot
will,
of great albums still out there that are turning 30.
Oh, we've got a ton of albums turning 30. We got a lot of stuff coming your way. And now that me and Fisher are on summer break, we got all the time in the world. We got to get our hero over here to get on board with taking some time off. Maybe by doing that, we'll just play Hero on a loop in his headphones.
Or maybe, just maybe, we'll actually be able to film an episode with all three of us in the same room.
That would be fun.
That'd be great.
That would be awesome. But until that episode, keep living, keep loving, keep listening, and as always, keep rocking. Hey, so while you go to smoke and while you go to eat your things, you can listen to this. And Joel will cut this out. This won't make the episode. So
I wish I didn't have that light right there.
Yeah.
So you're in a condominium.
I can fix that problem real quick.
He's in a condominium with mini condoms.
Yeah.
Damn straight. That needs to be a t-shirt too. Because that's what Fisher says all the time.
And when I say mini, I don't mean MINI. I mean MANY.
Yeah. Damn straight.
The way you think, Durf.
Or if I want to get Rocky to lay in front of it, and Rocky's white fur will pop off this backdrop.
Oh my gosh! If y'all
I've got a
start
black
doing
one
War
and a
stuff,
white
I'm
one.
gonna be freaking out. Oh my gosh,
So,
it's insane.
and then my red chest hair really pops off of it too. So
Your red chest hair and your pasty white skin.
that's right, dude. I look like you remember that movie back in like the day called Powder?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me.
I know, Ryan, you would love it here. Joel, there's a local brewery right down the
Oh
road.
man, I need it.
So-
I need to go on vacay.
I know, Ryan, you said this place is too liberal, but
It's Colorado. It's too liberal.
we're way out in the middle of nowhere
No, it's all
With
good.
McDonald's. With McDonald's.
with McDonald's.
I like that because the last one was the first one that you've stumped me on.
Yeah.
That was the first one that I was like, I literally had no clue.
Was that the drummer for Tears for Fears?
Yeah.
Yeah, had no clue whatsoever.
All the other ones I got, but that was one that I had no clue.
Dude, I tell you what, the one that he got the quickest ever, like, and he was so, Joel, I'm talking about Joel, so excited, was when I sent one of a picture from the rat video Round and Round. He was like, it's from this scene. They just crashed through the basement
Yeah.
ceiling and they went into the basement and then went into this. And it's like, geez, did you watch that much with your clothes off? Come on, man.
I needed a shower afterwards. Does that count?